Welcome back to a special episode of the Thriving Inside the Thin Blue Line podcast. I'm your host, Monica Crawford, owner of 50 Fierce and Fit. We have a special guest today. I'm really pumped. She reached out to me and we haven't chatted for a while. And she's doing something really cool within the law enforcement world. And I will let you introduce yourself. So go right ahead, Kennedy.
Hi, I'm Kennedy Pippenger. I've been in law enforcement now for 9 years, everywhere from corrections to dispatch to on the road for 9 years. I've been in the supervisor world of law enforcement for the last 6 years and done a done a ton of things for my department here in North Dakota. And yeah, I'm just excited to be here, and I'm excited that you have me on, and I'm excited to share all that with you. So,
I love it. I love it. And we're going to get into everything here. But the way I like to start this podcast because it gets interpreted different ways, and I love how it kind of leads us in different ways on our conversation. So, what does it mean to you to thrive inside of the thin blue line?
so I think the thin blue line is made up of a lot of different. To me, it's made up of a lot of different things. So, in other words, like myself and my mental health, and leadership. Leadership is something that's very important to me, and I take very seriously. I have a good group of guys that works underneath me. So as long as like I'm mentally um, ready to go and ready for work, that means that my guys below me are going to be too. So I think it's a mixture of kind of just all of that into one little thing, and that's what makes a good team, which in return makes you thrive in the thin blue line. So,
I like it. So, the first thing that you mentioned in there was essentially prioritizing your own mental health. So, where have you seen that show up inside of law enforcement, either within yourself or within other people?
so I think mental health is something that's very important to talk about in general, just because I think that we lack as states to help people that have mental health issues. Um, I also think that mental health is they don't know where to put it, right? So there are times when you're on the side of the road and you want to help people and you take them to get that help, and it just is not there. And so I see that daily. I see that all the time in my profession. So it kind of comes back to me, and that makes me prioritize my mental health. So there's kind of like two parts here. Like this job can get to be a lot. You see a lot. You go to calls that are hard. You're dealing with a lot of bad situations, and you're also having, as a supervisor, you're having people. You're having to make sure your guys are okay too. And so I think seeing other people struggle is what makes helps me in the fact of what prioritizing that, whatever that may look like. But I also think it's important to remember that there are people out there that are struggling, and I really really would love to find a solution to mental health and what that looks like for us here in North Dakota, but also what it looks like worldwide. I think it has a bad stigma, and I don't think it needs to. Like, if someone calls and asks for help, that's great. Like, I've sat with people for hours and just talked to them, and that's what they need. They just need someone there. And I feel that, I mean, that's something that's very close to me, to my heart, and that I want to someday figure out the solution to. Obviously, it's going to take a lot, but I can only do so much here in Little Hettinger County. But I feel like we as cops can do a lot and try to change that. So.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think the mental health crisis is something that's nationwide. I mean, I even experienced it in my own patrol work here in Oklahoma, and often the frustrations of them not having enough bed space, especially when you're taking people who need that extra help more so than the outpatient piece of it. So let's use this bridge into what you're running for. You're running for something very important and very exciting.
Correct. I'm running for the office of sheriff.
For
Um,
what county is it again,
for
specifically?
Hettinger County. We're a smaller rural county in North Dakota,
Mhm.
and we're excitingly the only state or the only one of the only counties. There's one more that has female leadership, which I think is wonderful, and so that's exciting.
Yes. And I love that you pointed that out because that's important for sure in creating more diversity in what we're doing. Um, in your space and running for sheriff, I know we're already talking about the mental health side of things. Where is your head going as far as maybe how you can implement your own solutions to help with how police respond to mental health?
So I think first and foremost, like I said earlier, the stigma is still there, and I don't like that. I don't like that at all. So I feel that you know, talking to the adults that may have a mental health problem, and just giving them the time of day. You know, people have this stigma that they're going to call in and then they're just going to be put away in this mental institute for 2 days, and that's just not what they want. And you know what? That's not what they need necessarily. And so just for people to understand that, and then also to encourage your kids to talk to us, right? So like getting into the schools and talking to those kids and being like, hey, if you have an issue, you can come to me. Like, I'll sit and talk to you. And just making it okay. Like, it's normal, right? Like, everybody has a bad day. And sometimes people have bad months and bad years, and that's okay. And I think that just trying to push normalizing that and trying to talk to, like I said, our citizens, but also trying to push it with our youth is what I would really like to do. So I have a really good relationship with our schools. I work with our schools directly quite a bit, and I think that's one of the huge priorities in building that relationship, because trust is also big, right, with mental health. And when people talk to you, they want to know they can trust you in what they say, and that they want to know you can get them help as well. So just making sure all those avenues are open and making sure all the resources are available, and just being there for somebody when they need it.
Yeah, I love that. I think, I mean, the schools are a great place to build that rapport with kiddos. Especially, I mean, the media today not doesn't always paint law enforcement in the best light. Depends on the scenario, of course. We do get some good stories in there from time to time. Um, how do you feel like the easiest way is to connect with the community? Because obviously you want trust from the mental health side of things, but I think like trust overall is like the bigger picture though, right?
100%. I don't believe that you will succeed in this career if you don't have the trust from your people. And I truly believe that. So, working hard to keep that. I do believe that we have that right now in Hettinger County with everybody in Hettinger County. I would like to think that they do trust us. So just things like community events, just to try to, like, not to veer away too much from this topic, but like 4 years ago now, almost 5 years ago, I started Hettinger County's first K9 program, and we still have the K9 to this day. I have him; he comes with me everywhere. But just like things like that, bringing him in, having community events with him, having community events in general, showing the people that, hey, we're here. We're not just here to write tickets and be there on your bad days, but we're also here to enjoy the good days, right? And having an open door policy, I think, is also very important. If you want to know more about me, like 100%, just call me. Like, we'll set up a time. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about whatever you want to talk about. Any of your, you have issues, let's talk about those. And I think through that community outreach, open door policy, you're gonna keep the trust of the people. And also, when you say you're gonna do something, do it. You can't promise all these things to these people and not hold up your end of the bargain. Because you're here for the people, And so that's kind of your responsibility to show them that, you are a good leader and that, you were voted into this position for a reason. So,
Yes. When I hear open door, I think of transparency. Like that's where my brain goes. And I think that's a massive thing for the community, but also within the own four walls of your department, right? Like, unfortunately, I've been on the not so good side of that, where there was no transparency, where it was like your supervision did not receive you with open arms very much at all. It was like you had to find the one person you could trust
yep.
instead of like the whole having that department level trust. So I love that as far as the transparency. Um, yeah, the canine program, that's cool. So
Yeah.
that's something you did within your time there. I love that. Why don't you share a bit more about how that came about and how you implemented that?
So I saw the need for canine, right? Narcotics is a huge issue. Narcotics is a huge issue nationwide. So when you don't have a dog, you can't get into as much as you would if you did have a dog. So I saw the need for it. I brought it to my sheriff, and she 100% supported it. And that's how we kind of brought it about. We brought it to our commissioners. They weren't 100% sold on it right away. So then we went to the people and we raised $55,000 in about a month and a half. And then I was off to Pennsylvania where we picked out the dog and we got the dog here. And to this day, he's great. We've had 3 successful tracks where we found 3 juvenile kids. We found lots and lots of illegal narcotics. And we've also just having him there to go into the schools and see the kids, it's very positive. It's definitely something that opens the door for them to be like, oh my gosh, can I pet the dog? And you'll be like, yeah. And then you'll start talking with them, and that may be the highlight of their month. And so you want them to go back home and be like, hey, guess what, I saw Deputy Kennedy, and we talked about this, and and then they right there is where you build that trust. So, regardless of where you need it, it's important to have that. So, the canine program's been super positive, and it's still positive to this day. Um, we actually have we started it with donations, and we're actually do a yearly golf scramble that kind of keeps it going. So we have that on June 6th, and so I'm excited. We'll have a canine demonstration there. They'll get to sit down and meet Canine Lion, and then people that want to golf during the day can golf, and then in the evening is when we'll do the demonstration and stuff. So yeah, I think it's very positive, and I think it'll be positive for years to come. So
That's super cool. I love that you saw a need and you basically made it happen.
and that's something that the communities are super important to me. We have 3 communities in the county of Hettinger County, and it's important that we're there for them and for everybody. So I love when like somebody brings an idea to me, or if I like the canine program, I bring it up and I'm gonna make it happen. Like I'm gonna put my mind to it and I'm gonna make it happen, regardless of what we need to do. It's a very positive thing, and I think that in all aspects. So
Yes, I love that. And that sounds like too, I mean, it was one idea that, I mean, you got a huge return on your investment on as far as the benefits that you got back out of it. I mean, people think canines, a lot of times they think single purpose, if you will, of, oh, it's a bite dog, oh, it's a tracking dog. And I mean, you can get more than one purpose out of a dog, obviously, depending on the training, but looking at it from how it impacts the community, the kids, that's a great way to lower people's walls, right? Just walk up to somebody with a dog. Like
100%. And
it's such an easy conversation starter.
I joke every day. I'm like, who wouldn't want to go to work with a dog every day? Like it's the best thing ever. So yeah, and I like I said, I think it's positive, and I hope And I know that like for years to come, even when I'm not, I'm not, hopefully somebody else steps up to the plate once this dog's done and it's another dog and we'll keep it running. And that's something that I want to, make sure is still here, regardless if it's just like the community outreach, the big thing, the narcotics. We want to keep that out of our county. Officer presence and visibility is huge, and when people know we have canine, um, that's huge. So having that and being out there and using it and showing people that like, guess what, this is a positive thing. I want to keep that going. So it's definitely been positive for Hettinger County in that aspect. So.
Yeah. I'm curious. You said you presented that to the county commissioners. What was the thing that tipped them towards that yes decision?
So, at the end of the day, I think they were more, I shouldn't say, when anybody ever talks about money, it's, budget's obviously hard. And especially when you live in a rural community and, you got to keep your response coming, and you got to keep law enforcement up, but you also got to keep it in a budget friendly way. And so, at first they were a little leery about it. And if you want me to be honest with you, I think it was the money aspect of things, which I don't blame them. A canine program costs a lot to start up. And so that's why we went to the people. And that's when we got our donations. So no money that the canine program gets comes from our general fund. It's all donation based program.
Wow. That's
So
cool.
yes, so we rely heavily on our donors and and try to do as much as we can for our donors and yeah, so we thankfully still have really gracious people that are willing to see it going and keep it going, and so yeah.
Yeah. So you are a resourceful candidate for sheriff is the way I count that up. If you're getting the people behind you on a very important need, and you are also able to work around those challenges because budget is always a challenge when it comes to government, and you got to work with what you have. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, there's a lot of decision makers that may be above like what's within your control realistically, and you have to make it work for everybody. So I love that you basically problem solved through that and figured out how to make it happen, which ended up being a huge benefit for everyone involved.
Yes, 100% it did. Yeah.
That's really cool. I love that. And of course, you mentioned the officer presence and visibility. I think everyone, when you hear police canine, I think it's a little bit fear. Like you get, from the criminal side of things, I think everybody's like, "Ooh, I don't know what this dog's here, what it does. I know it might hurt me, so I don't want to push my limits." Or it's either just gonna smell your whatever dope you got in the car, and then you're kind of done for after that anyway.
It's definitely a win-win situation, whether it be for the community or it be for us as a department, like our department, there's situations that we don't now have to go in and put ourselves in because we have a dog. And as somebody that is, on the top in the administration, whether it be sheriff or, anybody else, it's important. You got to juggle that. You got to juggle what's right for the people, but you also have a good team underneath you, and you got to keep that. And so you got to be able to show them that you're trying to bring these resources in. We're a smaller agency, so we're doing what we can. And like I said, it's been positive all around, whether it be to the public or to our department. It's very big helpful tool that we can use for pretty much anything. So
Yeah. Those are big leadership moves in my mind. I mean, you're taking into account everything around you that's above and below you. And you just mentioned having a good team underneath you. So what do you feel like are some of the things that you've done to be able to foster a positive environment all around you?
so as sheriff, I feel like it's in or administration in general. I feel it's important that you're out there boots on the ground with your guys, right? Or girls, if you have girls. We don't on in our lower level staff or whatever. We don't have we have all males, but it's important that you're out there, you're going to calls with them. I have the dog, so they stop a car, guess what? We're gonna go sniff that car if they need it. Um, I think that's how you build their trust and show them that, like, hey, I'm here for you, whether it be 2 o'clock in the morning or 9 o'clock, 9 o'clock in the morning, whatever time it is, I'm here. And I feel to be an effective sheriff, that's super important, is to be there for your guys. And regardless of what that looks like, you have to make admin decisions, but you can also be out there making decisions with them on the side of the road. I'm not too good to go make a traffic stop with them, you know, and I think that's important. And trust is huge, whether it be with the people or the people that you work with. You have to have that trust because you wouldn't be sheriff without the team underneath you. So it's important that you keep that. And like I said, we have a really, really great team underneath us, and I don't want to change that. So
Yes, I love that. I love the themes of the trust and the integrity that are really important for you. Just to clarify, your current rank right now is what?
I'm the chief deputy.
Your chief deputy. Okay.
Yeah. So, and I say underneath us by stance of, trying to paint the picture for people, but really they're beside you, right? Like they're beside you throughout all the situations, all the calls, all the, all the whatever you may deal with. They're the team that's going to stand beside you. And that's, I just want to point that out that we're all one team here and we're all doing this together. So
Yeah, for sure. And I love that. I love that stance because I mean there is that hierarchy, I can't say that right now, hierarchy of stuff inside of law enforcement too, and chain of command becomes a very like it is a thing in paramilitary organizations. But I've also seen chain of command, whether you look at it from law enforcement or like a corporate ladder. I feel like when people get disconnected, like the higher ups get disconnected from the people on the ground, that's where your problems arise. Shoot, you see that in government all the time. Like elected
correct.
officials with the people who elect them, right? Like similar to
Yeah.
kind of what you're going for. Um, but I mean, it's really apparent that you stay glued in to what everybody needs, whether it's the community or the people who are beside you. And it sounds like you have a pretty good pulse on that too.
Yeah. I try and I try to make sure that, you know, I I truly believe that, like, you as a department, us as a department, we're here for the people, but we also, we have to make sure we're 100%, right? And whatever that looks like, that you have to be there for your guys or your girls, and show up every day. And that's what's going to be make you guys better for the people and be able to be there to answer whatever they may need. So
Yeah. That's cool. I love that. The I'm beside you. I had a police chief with an agency that I worked with that was always making stops on holidays, and it was like a bizarre thing at first to hear him on the radio, but then you get used to it because you're like, okay, cool, chief's out working today. And you knew really quickly if he wasn't going to take anybody to jail, he would stop them. He'd call somebody to transport, of course, which is fine. That's fair. But yeah, you better be alert of like he's like, hey, I'm 10:15, and everyone's like, all right, someone go en route. Go pick him up because chief needs a transport.
and it helps you, and like it helps the trust part, but it also helps you understand, right? Like you can't expect these people to come in and that have complaints and not be out there with them doing this and knowing what they're doing, right? Like that's the biggest problem in departments is it's when your administration doesn't do anything with the patrol, or whatever aspect you have. We only have patrol and administration. I mean, we don't have detectives and things like that, but we do all that ourselves. But still, like I do think it's important. You're out there, you're doing you're doing what they're doing, so you can answer to that too. Things change, and if you're not out there doing that, you're gonna lose some of that, and you don't want to do that. So
Yeah, and I think it goes back to that open door policy of like if you have at least some sort of a relationship with somebody, like it just helps bridge the gap on so many things. You don't feel so far disconnected that you can't ask them for something or go to them for something on either end of it. Because I think a lot of us in law enforcement, especially like when somebody way above us calls us into the office, we're like, oh God, what happened? Like I'm in
Yep.
trouble. Like the immediate thought is I'm in trouble. But if you have that relationship, it's not like you're not on those eggshells all the time around people that have some sort of command space.
Correct. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. How many sworn is your agency? Do you know off the top of your head roughly?
Yeah, so we only have six of us.
Six. Okay,
Yeah.
that's an easy number to know.
Yep. So we six counting the sheriff, and then we have an office deputy that helps us out with everything. I call her she does many things. She'll anywhere from listening to us vent if we just have a bad day to doing whatever we need done. So she's wonderful. But yes, we have six, and our county isn't that big, and that's what's kind of unique about our county. So our county is about 2,500 people, but it's 1,100 square feet, a little
Okay.
over 1,100 square feet. So like from east to west, our county is like over 60 miles. But we're rural, but we're also like 25 minutes from a bigger town. And so a lot of those people live in our county, right? And they commute to work. So like that, that I think we're unique in that way because we do deal with quite a bit. And so yeah, that's kind of what our department looks like and how many we have.
Yeah, that's wild. I think of county and I was expecting, I was definitely expecting a bigger number. But of course I've never lived in North Dakota, so I don't know what that looks like up there. But yeah, that definitely speaks to why obviously you guys are dealing with more challenges like canines and starting up those things because it's a new thing. It's not common for your area, which is super cool. You have six of you. I know you've mentioned that's incredible that you guys only have six of you and you're one of the counties that has women. Let's just celebrate that for a minute.
Correct.
Um, is there anything on the forefront of expansion or maybe wanting to rope in more women or more diversity in general with the agency?
We're always open to what it's hard to find um, qualified candidates, if I want to put it that way, right? For
Sure.
one, somebody that's interested in this career, right? I do think that like in this world today, law enforcement is not painted in the best picture that it can be. And I'd love to change that, right? Not everything's bad. I promise. Like it can be turned around. But yeah, we're up to like we hire as long. I don't care if you're male, female. Like it doesn't matter, right? Like I said, my sheriff's a female, and so whatever you may be, we're open to to see and look at whoever's resume. We do have a full staff though, and we've had a full staff now for the last 3 years. Um, so maybe 2-ish years, but regardless, retention isn't something that is super. I don't see it as a problem right now, which is great because not a lot of agencies can say that, right? But yeah,
Yeah. Retention, I think, is the almost a bigger issue than recruiting, even. I feel like in most law enforcement agencies, it's people will show up willing to work. It's whether you have that positive environment that makes them want to stay.
correct. And I think it's very important to note that our deputy is like the sergeant below me. He's been here 8 years, so it's important to keep those people. So invest in your people, right? Let's not keep this revolving door of new people. Let's invest in the people that we have, and I think that's something that's super important to keep up with because whether that be training or any specialized things that they may want to go into, it's only benefiting Hettinger County to keep your staff. So
Right, because there's obviously the time investment of training and hiring a new hire. because obviously if they're brand new, they have to go through an academy, which means you have a spot filled, but you're waiting for whatever that time frame is, of 4 to 6 months, to actually get them on the road with you. So it definitely becomes a thought and consideration. I love that you're saying invest in your people. What are some ways that you all invest in your employees currently?
So training's a big thing. If they want to go to training or they want to, they have this idea of wanting to be specialized in something. We want to support that, right? With keeping the budget in mind, obviously, but we want to support that, and then we also want to, it's important that you're not 100% putting 100% of your time into this career. Some people have families, right? Some people need time off. So prioritizing that time off and the schedule. Just recently, about a year and a half, 2 years ago, we went to a 10-hour schedule, but we get 2 5-day weekends off a month. So that's huge, right? And I think, with a county that doesn't have a huge budget, that can't pay what maybe some of these other bigger counties are paying, you can compensate in other ways. Like I said, the trainings, prioritizing your time off. And by prioritizing that, I mean, when your time off is, we try not to call you. You just need that time to shut that off and just be you, right? And so like I said, some of our people are parents, and I'm a parent myself, and I feel that it's important that you get to go. You don't miss out on everything, and so investing in your people and showing them that like family does matter, and your career does matter, and we want to I want to see the people that I work with succeed, and that's really important to me. So whatever that may look like for them, just being open to that, listening, and if there's any issues in your department, if there is any issues, talk about them. Like if they see a defect in something that you're maybe doing or may have or whatever, be open, let's talk about it. And I don't feel like everybody has that. So I feel like we've kept our deputies for the most part because of that. So
Yes. I will cheer for you for the mountaintops. All of that. You already know me and you know my stance on those things, but I love that. The balance is the biggest thing, and that's the one thing that's really easy to lose inside of law enforcement for many reasons. And unfortunately, I feel like most of those come from the department side of things because it's like, we'll use you till we run you into the ground and then use your time off when you need it. Like you don't it's really rare to see supervision or just people within your agency who are actively looking out for you and encouraging you to like shut things down when you're off and actually take the day off. Like, again, I know for me in my experience, it was like people got made fun of if they called in sick. Like, it was like a stigma of like, well, you can't take a day off. Well, it's my PTO, so I am going to take my day off, you know? Um, but more so the thing with me is like you're leading by example in that sense too, of like this is what I believe for me, this is what I'm going to do for me, but also this is what I want to give a space for you to be able to do also.
and I feel that's important, and I feel it's important to have having that team, and knowing that, hey, this guy's requesting vacation to go do this, so I'm going to cover that, but then I know someday that I'm going to get repaid by being able to take the same thing, and him maybe covering my shift. And that's where the trust comes in, and being able to trust your guys, whether you're out on a bad traffic stop getting shot at, or you're in the in everyday life and living this. I feel it's very important, and you may be their supervisor, but you are one of them, and you can't forget that.
Yes. I love all of those things. And that's so important too, especially when you have such a small agency and you are literally trading time to help give other people space to take the time off. You have to have that positive culture for people to buy in. to that and to buy into everything you're asking them to do for you, right? Like you hope that people are on board with you. I think that's a big thing of leadership of getting that buy-in and everybody being on the same page with you so that the overall result, the service that you're providing is much better when you have that.
Correct. And I think, you do that for your people and then they know like, hey, when I come to work, it's work. It's 100%. I'll do whatever you need me to do and I'm there for you. And I think that's how you get that. And, all in all, everybody benefits from that. So,
Yes, that's so awesome. I agree 100%. Um, you mentioned that you are in a county, which of course is, what'd you say, 60 miles, but you also have that major city that's within your county. So do you do any work like collaborating within the city or like what do those
so,
collaborations look like?
so good question. But the bigger city is about 25 minutes out of our county. So it's
Oh,
not,
okay.
yep. So it's in the county north of us. But we, as a rural county, we work really closely with our counties around us. So, like, probably about 4 years ago now, maybe this is probably the fifth year. We do narcotic interdictions, and I started those. Started setting those up, and it grew from us in another county to now we have 4 to 5 counties in them. So we get together in the summer months once every month, and we go to these different counties and we do interdiction and all we do is stops and we look for narcotics. And we just had one in Hettinger County in April. And I feel it's very beneficial. Within the time frame we had about 28, 27 or 28 stops and we had 2 arrests. Now those are 2 arrests that probably wouldn't have happened if we didn't have, these narcotic shifts. So even though like our bigger county is 25 minutes or bigger city is 25 minutes north of us, I feel we work very closely with our other counties. And so that kind of, that benefits us and obviously Hettinger County in that aspect, because whether it be a narcotic interdiction shift or it be a bad call where we need help, we may rely on those people. So having those good relationships and that networking and that positivity with all the departments around you is super important too.
Yeah, I love that. That was the one thing I enjoyed with one of when I was part-time with a state agency. Of course, being a state agency, you're kind of like the backer for other agencies who need you, but it was so fun getting to interact with other people with different agencies. Like you genuinely built a connection and a relationship with those people. Whereas the other agency I was with, we were in our own little bubble. Like
Yep.
City PD, we're stuck in our own bubble, and it's like, well, we can take care of our own, but you're still like you still need to have those other relationships because the minute a pursuit takes off outside of your jurisdiction, like what are you doing? I mean, it's something similar like that. So that's super cool. And I mean, again, that helps benefit everybody involved. I mean, your six that you guys have are obviously getting to know everybody else, and it's creating that bigger sense of team and working together in law enforcement, which I feel like it that's more rare these days that you don't get a whole lot of collaboration with like different jurisdictions and agencies or even within like your county prosecutor or DA, like the other aspects of the flywheel of everything, you know?
And I feel like people may not know that. If you're not in this and you don't live this every day, you don't see that. So like around here, it's normal. It's normal to, get along with another county and, have that relationship and that networking, because guess what? They probably have resources that we don't and
Mhm.
vice versa. And so when we do have a bad situation, guess what? We can call in extra resources that are only going to help better us. But yeah, I feel like not everybody sees that. Everybody sees this bubble of, North Dakota, maybe South Dakota. And it's not, everybody's getting along and everybody's working together, right? But it's not necessarily like that everywhere. So I think that's very important. And I think it's very important to remember when it comes to, all the like this wheel of leadership, right? It's working together, networking, being there for your guys, being there for your people, and it all fits into this little circle that you need to make sure you balance. So
Yeah, that's super cool. And you're right. That's a great thing that you have up there and it's a good thing they don't have to know what it's like when you don't have it.
Yeah, correct.
They have it the good stuff. They don't want to or need to know what it looks like to operate without that, which is super neat. Do you feel like it's the same thing within like smaller cities within your county or perhaps like state jurisdiction too?
Yeah, so we are the sole law enforcement in Hettinger County. We don't have like a PD.
Okay.
So it's just SO. But we work really, really closely with Highway Patrol, which is our state. And they go on calls with us. We've been fortunate enough to have a couple of them be the same people since I've started. So, it's so much easier to work with people, especially when you're going in, like say you're whether you're on a bad call, like a domestic call, and you can just read your people and know, like, hey, like I know he has my back. So those relationships and those, that networking, like I said, is important. And I feel like we have a really good relationship with our state agencies. So whether it be Highway Patrol or like our Bureau of Criminal Investigations, they help us out with quite a bit of stuff, especially when it comes to um, like dumping phones or taking a bigger case where they may possibly have more resources, or a case that may involve several different counties. They help with that, so I feel like that's also very important and benefits everybody involved. So
Yeah, I mean that's like the one of the bigger benefits of working calls with people, obviously whether it's your jurisdiction or not, is the safety aspect of it. Because it's like you're saying, you know your people, you're familiar with how they act, and you can kind of tell when something might be off by a look on their face or kind of how they're standing, stuff like that. And that's cool that you have that familiarity. Because I've been in the space too where it's like you show up. Oh, I lost your video. There we go. You show up with somebody you're not familiar with and you're like hoping for the best type of thing and rolling with it that way. So that's cool that you guys have that interaction. How do you feel like you guys do when it comes to the court side of things and having prosecutors or whatever your term is you use up there? I know it varies of like a
so we
DA,
have
a
states.
prosecutor. Yeah.
Yeah, we have states attorneys.
Okay.
And our state's attorney is great. We have one state's attorney, but he's great. He works really well with us, have a really good relationship with him. And it's important, right? Because we will put hours and hours into these cases. And then, we take it to them. And then it's obviously in the court's hands at that point, right? Like we don't have a say of what happens at the end, right? So to have that relationship with our state's attorney is huge, and that's something that I want to keep having, because at the end of the day, we're all one team and we're all working together to try to make things work. So yeah, he's great, and I can't say enough good things about him. So
Yeah. You guys sound like you're pretty squared away up there, which is really cool. That you have all these different elements, but that everything is working together cohesively. Where you have the community support, you have the leadership inside your own agency, you have good relationships with surrounding agencies where you can request help or get specific needs met from them. And then you have the back end of it, which is the prosecution, which is important, right? Like our patrol work doesn't matter if we don't have the prosecution to tie up the loose ends and the sentences and things that need to happen on the back end of it. So that's really cool. That's something that I think, I mean, I wish I would have seen more of here where I worked, but that's cool to see that it is a thing. It can be possible. And it like kind of like we keep going back to saying like it benefits everybody involved, really.
it 100% does, and I think it's important to keep that. And I think we've, the prior sheriff has done the sheriff now, I should say, not prior, but the sheriff now has done a really good job at, building those relationships and, and keeping that. And I think that's important to keep and to build off of and, keep the positivity for Hettinger County, right? Because it's only benefiting everybody. So
Yes. I love it. I am pumped for you. I really am.
excited. I'm super excited. I'm excited that I got to, put my name in for this, and I just hope that, I hope positive things come from it.
Yes. Yes. So let's wrap this up. I love the themes of the trust, the transparency, the integrity. You're taking care of yourself. You're taking care of those who work for you, or who you supervise currently. Um, you're really pouring into everybody as much as you can, if I would probably summarize it very well. What's one thing, or maybe a couple things, up to you, however much you want to share, that you want people to know about you who may be voting for you?
I just think I've been here now almost 9 years, right? And I've done a lot, and I hope people just are able to see that, right? And it's very important to me. The communities are super important to me. All the communities are super important to me, and having that open door policy is important to me, whether it be the guys that are working beside me or the public. And I just hope people see and understand that I just want to build on what we have, and I hope I'm not going to say that there's not some things in there that some things that need to be changed, and I mean that's for every place, right? But majority of things are positive, and I just want to keep that positivity going, and be there for the people when they need it. So
Yes. Love it. You have a supporter. I would vote for you if I could.
I appreciate it.
Probably wouldn't count from Oklahoma, but my vote is yours. Awesome. Well, is there anything else you'd like to share, or you would like to leave on a note with anybody?
I don't think so. I think we've kind of hit all of it, and I think like I said, there's a circle of of things, and I think we've hit on everything. So, I just want people to know that I have an open door policy, whether that be reaching out to me and talking to me, having coffee with me, like whatever that may look like. They have any questions, they can always reach out. So.
Love it. Go get your coffee with a cop, with a sheriff,
I'm
deputy
always
sheriff.
here.
Yes, yes. Amazing. Well, thank you so much for coming on today. This has been an awesome conversation. Again, sending you all the good vibes your way. When is the election?
That's a good question. So the election's June 9th.
June 9th.
Um, so that's the primary election. And I encourage everybody to come out and vote. The number of votes are pretty low when it comes to not presidential election years. So I encourage whoever you want to vote for, come out and vote. Your vote matters. And so, yeah, it's June 9th. And then from there, if we do go on, it'll be November 3rd, I think. So.
June 9th and November 3rd. Cool. Put that down in the calendar. Put it down, remember it, because that's only 3 days after your golf
Event.
scramble.
It
Yeah, the
sure
June Stakes
is.
golf
Yeah.
scramble and fundraiser. So
Yes.
very
So
timely. I like it. Awesome. Well, thank you so much. This was so awesome. For anybody else who has any questions, holler at us, let us know. We're here to help support you however the best we can, whether you're anywhere in the US. I'm sure either one of us would happily have a conversation with anybody who might benefit from it. If anyone is enjoying this, please like, subscribe, share with anybody who might benefit. And as always, stay safe out there. Until next time, I'll see you guys later.